Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar called Ask Michael Anything, dedicated entirely to answering your questions. My name is Natalia and I will be the panelist for today's webinar. The webinar will be slightly different from our previous webinar. It will still be divided into two parts. The first one will take about half an hour and it will be Michael's presentation, where he will be answering the questions that you have been sending to us over the last week. And the second part will be a standard Q&A session where Michael and I will be answering the questions that you can send over to us during the webinar. So don't worry if your question didn't make it to the first part, because you can still submit your question in the Q&A box that you can see at the top of your screen. And next to the Q&A box, there's also the chat box where you can chat or ask questions to other attendees, as well as the panelists of the webinar, Marcin, whom you cannot see, but he's here with us, and myself. Okay, so firstly, let's hear from you guys, and let's check if everything is working properly. So if you could just head to the chat window for me and tell us where you're joining us from today. Let's wait a second for everyone to join in. Okay, so we've got people from India, South Africa, Paris, Illinois, Canada, Chicago, Boston, Washington, Missouri, Germany, Orlando, Denmark, Arkansas, even Gdańsk from Poland. That's great. Delaware, UK, Louisiana, Idaho, North Carolina, Iowa, Florida, Poznań again from Poland, welcome. Maryland. All right, so here we go again. We've got people from all over the world, and that's awesome. So let me just welcome you again. We really appreciate the time that you're spending with us on this webinar, and I hope you will find it really inspiring and that Michael is going to answer as many of your questions as he possibly can. And we're going to see Michael in just a second. So let me just remind you that you can enter your questions during the webinar in the Q&A box at the top of your screen. All right, guys, so we're about to officially begin. And let's meet our instructor for today. Hi, Michael.
I'm here, just starting everything out. Hi. Great to see so many people coming up and then from all over the world again. I mean, when the first information, like from India, South Africa, and then all over the States, amazing. So thanks everyone for joining, especially in Northern Hemisphere. So in the USA and in Europe, it's summer. So I really appreciate that you are joining us tonight. I mean today, if it's the USA, and for this webinar, because I mean you could have been lying on the beach, or you're just spending time somewhere with your family, and you're here with us. So we're really happy that you're here. So great.
Yes. Thank you guys for coming. And okay, I'm just going to switch off my camera now. And Michael, now it's over to you. So good luck and see you in a bit.
All right. So I'll just stop my camera as well now, and let's focus on the presentation. Can you see it well? I mean, can you see the presentation well? Can you just let me know in chat if you can see the first slide, and now the second one, with NASB. Yep, great. So, as you know, I'm the founder of NASB and the CEO of NASB. It's a multi-platform productivity suite of apps. We have apps for the Mac, Windows, for web, iPad, iPhone, Android, and Apple Watch. And one of the first questions that I got actually was how we approach designing cross-platform apps. And it's an interesting question from like 2 points of view. So first of all, we want to have apps for all the major platforms, because we want you to be in sync, and we want you to be able to use NASB from anywhere, anytime. I mean, this is what I love about our tool and similar tools that also sync in the cloud, is that I can use NASB on my iPhone, on my iPad, actually on several iPads that I own, and on my Mac, and it all syncs in the cloud. And the same goes to people who use Android, and And when you have NASB in your team, which you can also have, and which we do, for example, you can have people using different devices, really, not only being, in the Apple camp, but also being in Android camp. So this way you can really use the device to the fullest. And you can convince everyone to try to use NASB because, everyone's devices are being supported, which is really, really important. And so this is the first thing. So like philosophically, NASB was born in 2007 as a web app. So you could access NASB from anywhere with a web browser. But now, because we have apps, we have mobile phones, smartphones, tablets, it's better to actually be able to access it via apps and sync in the cloud. So it was like, we had to take, like at some point, like a few years ago, we had to make this decision to go cross-platform. And then second thing, technology-wise, like the core NASB app, the core NASB code is the same. It's very similar on all the platforms. We try to keep as much code as possible to have them to be shared between platforms. And some people criticize this. Some people say it's great. We know it's great because this way we can give you lots of great new features at the same time to all the platforms, and not like have one feature on the web app and then and then on the Mac app like 2 months later or something like that. So this way we are able to ship features faster. But we also work with native code and with lots of native code. So for example, if you have an Android smartphone, then you can have the native widgets, and you can have NASB on your home screen as a widget. You can have a widget of your priority list, of your projects, of your tasks in a set project. It's very, very handy. Or for example, if you have an Apple Watch, like I do, you can use NASB through the Apple Watch, and also it's a native app. It works perfectly with our main server. So it's really, really useful. And now in the version 3.2 of NASB, which we'll talk a little bit later, we'll have new enhancements for the Mac as well. So we are trying to work on each platform to leverage the best of each platform, and yet have the main code shareable. This way we can provide you as soon as possible, the best app possible. And you will hear about it in a bit. But this is like how we approach cross-platform development. We will be working a lot more with native code in the future, also just to get like really the most of each platform. We have 3 teams for that. But and we are using HTML5, yes, as core, and JavaScript. But we also use we incorporate lots of native layers right now that talk to HTML5 and JavaScript, and this way we can really create a fantastic user experience for all the platforms and go and develop our application rapidly. So this is how we approach this. Another thing I wanted to mention before I go to another question is the book, The 10 Steps to Ultimate Productivity. It's not announced, yet. We have shipped my course, 10 Steps to Ultimate Productivity course, which was in video, and you can get it on video at productivitycourse.com. We shipped it already as an ebook, but now we actually worked on this. I actually rewrote the whole thing from scratch, and we will be preparing to ship a fully fledged productivity book this fall. For you guys. So this will be something new, something I hope you love it. This will be like a very short, very good, like with lots of examples, very practical guide that you can use yourselves, and you can also give to people who are in your family who want to get more done, and who want to be more productive. So this book is coming this fall, and I just wanted to give you a heads up, because very soon we'll be inviting people to help us shape the book to the one that we want to ship. And remember, keep using Q&A to ask questions, and I'll be answering those in just a few minutes. And okay, another question: work-life balance. How work-life balance is this thing that everybody's asking about. How to make it better, and it's a struggle that every one of us has to go through. Just how to balance work and life. And balance is a verb, not a noun. So in this sense that you actually have to keep balancing. Sometimes sometimes you have to just work a little bit more. Sometimes you have to be with the family a little bit more. just to give you a very easy example, very basic example, for example, is that just before this webinar, I just spent hour and a half with my newborn. I have a small 3 week young child, my third daughter, and I spent some time with her right now, just hour and a half, holding her in my arms and I'm playing with her before the webinar, just to be out of work and just to be able to enjoy the family, and then get back here with more energy, and hopefully this will show. So how do I do that? So first of all, as you know, I work from home. We all work from home in our company. And what I do is I try to really keep the boundaries pretty strict. So in the sense that, for example, I have a dedicated home office. So I have a small room that is my home office, which of course not everybody can have, but in my case it's a luxury I can have here. It's on the top floor of my house, so nobody can come here accidentally and interrupt me. And for example, every day when it's school, I bring my girls to school and I take them from school. And this is like something I never try to give. I never give up. I always want to be with them and have this moment when I bring them to school. And this is one of my part of my morning routine, which we'll talk about a bit in a second. And well, let's just talk about it now. So my morning routine is that, because there was another question about that, is that I wake up in the morning, I journal, and actually I will post on NASB blog about my journal, routine, and about actually how I journal. In next week. So next week, check out NASB blog, nasb.com/blog. You will have my blog post there, how I journal with the NASB How template, how I get this done. You'll see how this works. But the idea is this: I journal in the very morning. I spend some time only on thinking of preparing my day. I dedicate like half an hour, 40 minutes to that, and then I go and wake up my two girls, my two bigger girls that go to school. I wake them up and I prepare breakfast for them, and with them I go to school. And around 9, I come back from school and I start my work day. And then around 5 p.m. I go back to school to pick them up. So this is more or less the routine that I have with them, and this helps me know that between 9, I have this typical 9 to 5 schedule, but also because I'm also a triathlete, I do triathlons. So what I do is sometimes during the day, for example, when I know that my energy is going down around 2 p.m., I tend to go out for a short 1 hour run or bike ride, just to recharge my energies and come back working. And then when my girls go to sleep, sometimes I just work for half an hour more, just write something down, write a sketch of a blog post, something like that. And what I also do is in the very evening, before going to sleep, I do like a night journal. Again, you will have the whole template of that in my blog post next week. But the idea is this: that at night before going to sleep, I write my 3 main important, my 3 big rocks, most important tasks for the next day. I write them down before going to sleep. And this way, I can close my day and then be prepared already mentally for another day. So this way, again, in the very morning when I wake up, I'm energized. I know what I have to do. I know why I woke up. What needs to be done. And then when I journal in the morning, I'm already pumped up to be prepared for work. Then I spend some time with my girls, and then I get to work. So this is it's a constant balancing act. Being a father of 3 and a husband, but it works. And for example, next week after this webinar here, next week I'm actually taking 2 weeks off to just enjoy my family and my newborn. So again, my wife actually had to force me to actually do it, because I had so many great things planned for you for the fall. But yeah, I'm gonna just recharge my batteries, read more, enjoy my family time, and my parents just came over to visit, so I will have some time to just enjoy the family. So it's a balancing act, but it's doable. But of course, it's important to have the priorities right. Another question was how I'm motivated. And so I actually mentioned it a little bit, but there are two things. So first of all, I'm motivated because I love what I do. I mean, you came here, there are 100 people here came to listen to me and to ask me questions. And we have 300,000 users of NASB. And we have people from all over the world, as you have seen already in the chat, that wake up every day and then plan their day in NASB. They just like us, just like me, they live in NASB. They put all their tasks, hopes, dreams, goals, projects in NASB. And for me, this keeps me really motivated and energized. This is something, this is a calling more than anything. And that's why it keeps me motivated. But of course, this is the big answer. But there is also the small answer, There are days when I'm not very motivated for some reason, when the weather is bad or the pressure is not right. And in these days, I do two things. There are two tricks that I implement to actually, get back motivated. And here on this slide, you can see on the right side, there is a checklist. And there is a task called Webinar Today, and there is a checklist. Can you see the checklist on the slide? I hope so. Well, anyway, yeah, perfect. So anyway, the idea is that in this checklist, so the idea is this. If I have a task that is actually pretty big, but not big enough to actually deserve to be converted into a project, but it's like, this task is there and it's scary and I just don't know how to deal with it, I create a small checklist like this here, like a small checklist as a comment to the task, which helps me just, divide this task into smaller chunks, into smaller doable pieces. Usually, of course, David Allen says in Getting Things Done that you should actually divide a task into project because there are more steps. But actually, I'm trying to be more pragmatic about it, more practical. When it's a big enough task to be still a task, but small enough not to become a project, I use a checklist, and this really helps me because when I distill this task into smaller, very small pieces, I see, hey, I can do that. I can update the slide deck. I can actually create this landing page here. This is really easy. I have a copy already. Or let's record the video. It's going to be easy. So this way, I can just go through the checklist, and then I'm motivated again. I got the energy back. So this is one of the tricks. And the second trick is that on the left side, you see this 25 and 5-minute thing. If you recognize this is the Pomodoro technique, the famous Pomodoro technique. What it means is that I put a timer to 25 minutes, and the clock is ticking. And when I have this 25 minutes, I just go, put it there, and I see clock ticking. I see time going away, and then I'm like, I have to do something. I have to get this task done because the time is ticking away. And very often, especially when I was really not in the mood of doing anything, this Pomodoro technique helped me really motivate, helped me really to just focus right now on the task at hand. And I was surprised how much I got done in 25 minutes. And then I take a 5-minute break and then plan another 25-minute Pomodoro. So this is how I also work to just be motivated in the days when I'm not really, in a mood for something. So this also happens to me. Please don't be so hard on yourselves. This happens to everyone. It happens to the best of us. Another question, my favorite categories. So I use categories, and not many people do, but I really advise to use them. They're really great. On the right side, you can see my favorite categories like the phone, finance, writing, and home. So phone is for all the phone calls. I love this because then I just batch all the phone calls I have to make. So when I have to make phone calls, I usually try to batch them even on one day, on Friday. So I just tap on my category phone, and I just go and do all the phone calls I have to make from all the projects. Finance, so this $ is for all the wire transfers or payments or things like that, or any money management related thing that I have to do. Again, this helps me a lot because when I see a task on my priority list with this category, I immediately filter my category list only for the finance tasks and just log into my bank account, do everything at once, log out, and all my tasks are done. So I really like it. Writing is for writing, so all the writing assignments, I put them also in one category. This way, when I'm in a mood for writing, I just put all the writing tasks in front of me. And home is for all the errands that I have to do for home. I mean, all the I have to fix that, repair that, and remember about that. So all these things I put in the home because they also can be in different projects. On the left side, there are some new categories I'm using recently. So fun, sports, and so like first of all, frog are the most important tasks. There was this book by Brian Tracy called Eat That Frog. So, do the most important task. So with this category, what I do is I mark these important tasks that when I told you that I was thinking about these tasks in the evening, then in the morning, I mark these tasks with this category. And then when I want to just focus on the big ones, on the big things in the very morning, I just filter my priority list with this category, with frog, and I just focus on the frog, on these things. And then there are other categories here, and there's fun and sports. So, for example, like all the fun sports things, and I do lots of sports, so I use that as well. Especially if I have a project that is really daunting, but in the end, but at some point it has some fun part, then I just put a fun thing there. So this way I can just have an overview of if I have enough fun in my life, in my projects. And meeting is for the meetings. So this way I can, just look at, again, browse, revise all the meetings I have in different projects, and use it for that. We have lots of colors and lots of icons in NASB. So this way it's really easy to use categories in NASB. And now, so morning routine we already discussed, and weekly review. There was a question. I have several questions actually. How I do my weekly review. So my weekly review, first of all, you can see here my iPad and a nice breakfast. And the thing is that what I try to do is I try to go out for a weekly review. I try to do it somewhere else. My idea is to go to a cafe. So up until now, on Monday morning, what I was doing is I was just getting my girls to school. And after that, I would go to my favorite cafeteria to have my breakfast and do my weekly review. And I wouldn't allow myself to leave cafeteria to my home office until my review was done. But in this way, it was a treat for me. It was something special. Normally I wouldn't eat breakfast in the cafeteria. Normally I would eat breakfast at home. But this one time a week, I do something special. I do something different. And right now we changed the policy of our company actually, and we're going to announce it also very soon, that I have actually forced everyone to do weekly review on Fridays. We'll have a blog post about it as well, that we have just introduced a new experimental policy. If you want to learn more about it, it's going to be in the next episode of the podcast. So of the podcast that I record with Radek. So we will, I'm trying to help people to get motivated to actually do the weekly review every Friday. So not now, tomorrow actually on Friday, we'll do the weekly review, everyone on the company, including me. So I will have a new routine for the weekly review. But anyway, my weekly review is basically, I clean up my NASB inbox. I check my email inbox if there is anything there that needs to be tackled right away. And then I go through my goals projects. So I have a few projects there's my goals, like very important projects. And then I go through every project I have. I have more than 100 projects in NASB, so it takes time. But I go through every project, check every task, and check if it's still relevant, if it makes sense, because lots of these projects are shared. So I look what other people are doing or have planned or have on their plate. And this way I can revise everything and make sure that we are on top of things. So this is what I do. I go through every project, and then after I'm done with all the projects, I also go to check all my statistics. So I check all my stats, NASB stats, business stats, revenue reports, income reports, all these things that that they need to be reviewed to see how the week was and how we're planning next week. And then I try to put I revise the calendar. So I check the calendar the last week and then what's coming in next week. And then I plan 3 to 5 most important, priorities for the next week. So like my goals for next week, my areas of focus for next week. And with that, I'm able to start next week fresh. And now the logic behind the change from Monday to Friday actually is that I want everyone on my team to do weekly review on Friday. And this way, everybody has a plan for next week already on Friday, and this plan can be ready over the weekend. And on Monday we can just go and start implementing the plan without actually status meetings and all these things. We can just go and get things done on Monday right away. So this is a new plan. There will be more about it on the podcast and in the blog post next week. So make sure to follow me also on Twitter, right, when I announce it. But it's a new change, but I think it's going to be great. Another question: how do we motivate your team? So we all work from home, and I think the best way to motivate people is to give them to hire the best people you can afford, you can get, and give them liberty and give them power to do what they do best. Like when I hired my first programmer, when I started NASB back in the day in 2007, it was only me. And the first programmer I hired, I made sure he was better than me. He was a better programmer. And this is my policy up until now. I try to hire better people than I am in the things that we're doing. This way, we are growing as a team and we're growing as a company. And this way, people are motivated because they know that they're experts and they're doing the best and they rely on each other. So this is like one of my answers. And then the second thing is I try to hire hire slow, fire fast. This is like my also thing that I like. We take time to hire people because we want to make sure that they can work from home. Because in our company, this is like, I started this company from home, and I didn't want an office. It's not like we cannot afford an office. I just didn't want an office. I want to be free to move to anywhere. And I moved several times when after we started NASB, and many people in our team moved several times because we want to be independent of where we live and want to make sure that we have the best lifestyle and the best work-life balance, that we can live in a place we want to live and still work for a great global company that helps people from all over the world get things done. So I think this is also motivating for people. And also, we work in NASB. We share tasks in NASB. We share projects in NASB. We, as you can see here, we collaborate through comments and tasks. This way, we keep each other in check. We keep motivating each other. We keep, commenting on each other's work to make sure that we can push each other forward. And I think this is really important. When we hire, again, it's not like I hire. It's the team that hires person. And then, we work together towards that. So working together in NASB, actually, I think it also helps us really keep pushing each other forward. So another question, why no to office exactly? So why we are a no office company? So why we all work from home? This grew from the fact that I studied business, but I was always interested in computers, and I learned programming myself. And I was blown away by the internet, early on. And I was like, so when there was this internet, there's this freedom. Whenever I am with my laptop, I can just be productive. I can do whatever I want. And throughout my marriage with my wife, we moved several times, and I loved it. Whenever she would find a different job, I would just follow her with my laptop and just connect myself to the internet. Actually, I connect myself, not really connect my laptop to the internet, but you know what I mean. So the idea was that to actually be free to move from anywhere. And also another thing, I found there are lots of talented people who don't live in the big agglomerates, in the big cities. And this way, when I started hiring, I hired the best. And my best programmer that we hire wasn't from my city, was from a different city. So why would I force him to move? I didn't want to force him to move. And then it grew from there. And I think because it goes beyond just working from home. I think the idea is that we can work. I mean, if you put us in an office, we can still work together, but we will still have the same principles of working through, communicating through tasks, of working, through cloud software in this way that we don't have to be there physically. We don't have to depend on being there physically. And here you can see a photo of us because we meet twice a year on company reunions, as we call them. And this one was in Sopot in northern Poland this spring. And now we have another one coming up in October. So we all meet at some point, and we love meeting that. And actually, when you work from home, you want to meet your people. You want to meet people you work with every single day. And it's also fun. And that's it. I mean, this is really like the philosophy behind no office is working in a different way, leveraging the power of the internet, the power that we have just to work more effectively and to have this work-life balance even better, to be able to live where you want and to work where you want. And so that's the basic idea. And there is another question, why no to email? Because recently I wrote a long blog post, why we don't use email in NASB. And again, we use email. You can still email me, and many people have. We actually sent you an email to invite you to the webinar, and replied to your email. So we use email with the world, but not internally. And I think this is another shift that is happening within the companies, that a company should have a different channel to communicate. And we have two channels. We use NASB and the shared projects. We communicate through tasks. So we use comments in tasks. We delegate tasks to each other. And also another thing is chat. We have Slack as a chat software, and we can just blah 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 chat about things. So with these two channels, we are in touch. And I remember when I hired my VP of product, Rafael. He was actually surprised that after working with us for 3 months, and before he was working in a big company in a big office, he was like, Michael, I work from home, but I feel I'm more in touch with you than I was with my people from my office, from my physical office. And that's the thing that we want to create with this way of working. Another question was, why no to sub projects and sub tasks in NASB? So this is a question that it's been haunting us for years now, and we're almost 10 years in business now with NASB. And the idea is this: hierarchy. So having sub projects, sub projects, sub projects looks great. It looks nice when it's laid out there. Like, for example, I love mind maps. So when there's a mind map, there's one thing, then it goes to the other, and then the other. It just goes like this. It's beautiful. It's really great to sketch out things, to sketch out dependencies, to just design things. But it's not the way to actually get things done, because if you want to do it every day and every day go through this maze, it's not possible. That's why, for example, in NASB, here we have marked two important things. So first thing was that we, in green, labels. We introduced labels so we can group projects together. So we can still have the flat structure of projects, but if you want to see only projects that are related to each other, you can create a label and label them together and see only these projects. So it's really important that that you can actually have a smaller list of projects. But if you want to, you can still have a flat structure, so it's very easy for you to access any project. You don't have to dig through one project to another to get to the one that you want to get to. It's just flat structure is just better. It's the same thing the same shift that happened with email. Now people don't create folders in email. What they do is they use search. And Gmail uses search because you just don't. There's no time to create folders and create beautiful structures. In the 90s, when there were a few emails coming in, you would create that. But now it doesn't make any sense. Even on computers, we stopped using so many folders that we used to. We still use folders to some extent, but to group files together. But we don't use them all that much anymore, because we would like to have more direct access to all of the files. And here in the orange is the checklist, the one that I mentioned already before. I use checklists a lot because checklists are the way to create kind of subtasks, but not actually subtasks. Again, small steps to help me get my task done. So it's like I'm trying to divide a task into smaller pieces, but they're not subtasks. They're not independent tasks that I can move around. They're a checklist for the task. And again, over trial and error, we've been proven wrong several times. We've realized that this is the best way, because we want you in NASB to go from zero to done as soon as possible. And we have already alienated lots of customers that said, if you don't have sub projects, I'm not going to use you. That's fine. We're just standing by what we believe in, because we know that the sub projects, sub tasks, sub structures are not good for you in the long run. We've tested it several times, and we know that. Even in complicated things, think about how to make your structure flatter, not more complicated, because only then you'll be able to review your system better, to use your system on a daily basis and access all the tasks and projects that you have there at hand. You will not have to dig through the maze to get them, to get things done. And why yes to reporting? So we finally started, sending you some reports in NASB Pro and NASB Business. You already get email reports in NASB. So this is one thing that we already introduced, but people wanted more reporting. So I chose this question here because I want to just dig a little bit deeper into what we are actually going to introduce very soon. So first of all, on the left side, you can see our team section in NASB. So if you go there, there's a team section below templates. And then in this team section, it's you, so you can see your tasks, and you can see tasks from people on your team if you have a team in NASB. And this way, you are able to see what they have on their plate. But in the future, what we're going to introduce is the fact, in the next version of NASB, is that you will be able, there in the team section, print reports of yourself, your performance, your past performance, and then of your team members. This way you will be able to see how people are performing at any time. So, and if you are like an employee, you want to go to your boss, you will be able to click on your tasks, create a report, customize the report, and send this report over to your boss and tell them, I've done that. Even if they don't use the NASB, you will be able to send them a report with all the tasks nicely laid out, what you have done, when you have done that, and with all the information. So reporting is coming, more advanced. Now you have the email reports every week, but the more advanced reporting is coming in the next version of NASB. And for the business users, there's going to be more reports. There's going to be just, for the pro users, there's going to be just one report. And for the business users, there's going to be more because they actually asked for more customization and reporting department. So this is coming. We have, some other plans for that, but, this is coming because we know that and recognize that very often you just want to show a report to your boss, or you as a boss want to just have a report of everyone how they're performing. And we're already past 30 minutes. Actually, it's almost 40 minutes. So I just want to just give you a heads up that a new version NASB 3.2 is coming next week, early next week, with amazing features. Like for example, here when you create a new project, you can already customize it from get-go. It's very cool. It's very, very useful. So you will be able to just add description, invite somebody right away, add it to labels that we discussed, or create it from a template maybe, or set a color. You'll be able to do it right away. So it's going to be very, very useful, very, very cool. And the new version 3.2 has other features for the Mac. Very good, new quick add for the Mac. Fantastic. Additional features and share sheets for the iOS. It has great features on all the platforms. So like there's going to be a whole list next week showing up what's new. But it's a good release. It's a very good release. We redesigned lots of things, as you can see here. Creating a new project is totally different than from what you know now. So we really rethought lots of processes in NASB to just make sure that we ship the best version possible. So the new version 3.2 is coming next week. And as a thank you for being here, there is this special bonus that we normally don't do very often. So you can get 3 months of NASB if you choose to extend right now for a year. So actually, if you choose to extend for a year, you get 2 months already, and then now 3 months on top of that. So you get actually 5 months when you pay for 10. So basically, the offer is out only for an hour after the webinar. It's good for only for an hour after the webinar. So you don't have to rush now, but after the webinar, the offer will be gone for like an hour, and then will be gone. And it's nasb.com/webinar bonus, and there are other bonuses there also on this website. But we'll have time to get to that. Let's get to more questions because I'm sure that you have plenty. So Natalia, let me know how it's been so far.
Hi, thanks, Michael. It's been great, and I think that you've answered a lot of the most popular questions that we got over the past week, and we've got some more questions, of course. And if Michael hasn't answered your question, don't hesitate. You can still send those over in the Q&A box at the top of your screen. But now let's move on to the Q&A session, and let's start with a question from Carla. What does NASB mean? Where does this unique name come from? This is quite a popular question.
Okay. So NASB initially was it was like back when I was in college. I did it with a friend a project about time management and project management. Actually, it was like a reminder thing that we had planned, and we were trying to find a name. It was .com era with lots of cool names, and we wanted to have a cool name as well. And we were, we had this phrase that we liked to be organized, and we wanted to, to do something with that and to get a name. And we like the B part, the B part, to be something, to be there. And to be naturally organized was like to be naturally organized, to be simply organized. We had all these, ideas, and then to be naturally organized was BOS, and then OSB, and then we had NOSB, and then we're like, yeah, this is cool. Like 5 letters, NOSB, Z in the middle. It looks great and sounds great, and comes from to be naturally organized. So it came from there, from the phrase to be naturally organized, NOSB. The .com was available, so I registered it right away. We had this project there, a reminder, and you can actually, I think, even see it on the web archive. So, but please don't do that. It's going to be embarrassing. But then, and after, the project wasn't a success, but I kept the domain because I really liked the name. So when I actually designed NASB for myself and was planning and was contemplating, sharing it with the world, I thought, no, I have this perfect name there, NASB, which just means to be naturally organized. So let's just use it. And as my wife, who's a lawyer, would tell you, it's a great trademark because it doesn't mean anything. NASB as a word in no language. It's not an insult. It's a good name, so a unique name, and that's why I stuck with it. It might be hard to pronounce, but I just liked it, and I keep liking it. So that's NASB, to be naturally organized.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And the next question about NASB from Piotr. On February, NASB will have another special 10th birthday. What amazing promo will you prepare for this special event?
I have 2 words for you. You'll see. 3, but you will see. Yeah, we've got something really cool planned, and we'll let you know in time, but yeah, it will be 10 years of NASB, a decade, yes. So yeah, we've got really some cool ideas, and actually in October on our NASB reunion, we are going to brainstorm lots of these ideas and just prepare for that. And we are actually planning our 2nd reunion, so next year. Normally it would be in the spring, but we will do it in February just to be able to celebrate together. So this will be like a February winter, in our case, reunion to celebrate 10 years of NASB. So yes, amazing. But if you ask me, I just feel like we're just getting started. There's so much. There's so much to be done. There's so many things to improve. We see already. We have so many. We're designing so many new cool things for NASB. I don't see an end. Actually, I see more opportunities with NASB. So of course, no, I'm not going to switch to another tool or use something or start a new business or something like that. No, I'm committed to NASB because there's just so much to be done. So we're committed, and so with 10 years, we're going to celebrate. But it's going to be a great milestone, and going forward, we want to make NASB the best of the best.
Exactly. And we've got plenty of surprises, but we don't want to spoil the surprise for you. So you will have to wait until February.
Yeah, but we'll be teasing them. So, follow us on Twitter and follow us on our blog. So we'll be teasing them. So, yeah, we'll be getting ready.
Exactly. Okay. We've got a question from Michael, who wants to know how to deal with the problem of assigning more than one person to a task. So how would you go about doing that?
Yeah, so this is something we are exploring right now because it's not the first time we get this feature request. On one hand, with Principle, I just didn't like the fact that if it's a task, it belongs to somebody. I don't like the committee. That the task belongs to the committee, because if it belongs to committee, it belongs to no one. So I'm sorry, I'm Polish. In Poland we had communism, and communism is not a good system, because then everything belongs to everyone, which means it belongs to no one. So I have bad memories with that. But I recognize that sometimes when you do a task, you want to get help from somebody, right? So what happens is that if you want to get help from somebody, what we do very often is that we do a ping pong of tasks. So I delegate it to somebody, but then in the comments, I also mention another person. So for example, and I would there's a task from Natalia, but for example, I want Magda, my other assistant, to check it out as well. I would write, Natalia, please take care of this, and Magda, please help Natalia with that if you can, something like that. This way, if I do this @ Magda, just like on Twitter, she will get a notification that Michael mentioned you in this task. And this way, and Magda can actually, see the task, chime in, put her comment there or her idea there, and Natalia can continue, working on the task. So this is what we do right now in NASB. But we are thinking in the future maybe of having like being able to actually have the checklist maybe delegated. I don't know, like the parts of checklist maybe delegated. We are right now exploring the idea of sharing a task. What I also do is, if I see the task is pretty big, I just create another task. Right now in NASB, and especially 3.1 already, and 3.2 even better, you can clone like a comment from a task, create a task create a task from a comment. So for example, if there is a task and there were a few comments, and I see that there are several issues with this task, several different separate things, I create a task from this one comment, and then get it to somebody else. This way I have two tasks, yeah, but then everybody's on the same page. Okay, I do this one, you do that one, right? So and because in NASB we don't charge you by task, you can have lots of tasks, so it's not a problem. And so this is what I do very often, and especially now that it's so easy to create a task from a comment or clone a task, which is also possible. Right now, if you go to a task and there is like 3 dots, and you can clone a task, so we can actually duplicate a task and send it to people with 2 different like specific ideas what they have to do. So there are many ways, but we are also working on even making it even more streamlined. But right now there are many ideas how to do that.
Exactly. So you can either clone a task, copy a comment and clone the comment, or create a task with this comment, or just use @mentions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, another question from Aaron. How detailed should a task be? I find that if my task is too broad, it never gets done. Is this where you find projects to be helpful? What would you say to Aaron?
Either that. So because if a task is really big, then it deserves a project. It just deserves it. So I just give it to it. So that's for sure. But sometimes, as I mentioned before, I use a checklist. If the task is I see the end of this task and it's very close, I just need to mentalize what I actually have to do to actually get there. So I just do a checklist then. And so it depends again on the size. You have to just be the judge of that, and you have to just look through your past performance. It's always subjective, this division. When you create a task, and especially coming from the previous question, especially if you want to get more people involved, I would rather create a project and invite people to this project and divide tasks, different smaller tasks for these people and for myself, instead of working through one big task with one big thread of comments and mentions and everything else. So very often it's just you have to just look at this and you see when it gets out of hand, when it's just too much, and then you just start dividing and just to move things forward.
Exactly. So sometimes it just gets really confusing if you have too many comments in one task, and even with a checklist, sometimes it's just better to convert it into separate tasks where you can actually focus on every step, and instead of having it all in one place.
Totally. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and next question. Constance wants to know what enhancements are plans for the next couple of months.
Okay, I cannot tell you a lot, but I can tell you some. So first of all, one of the most popular feature requests, so the OneNote and OneDrive integration is coming. Not in the version 3.2, but in the next versions, hopefully even in 3.3. I don't want to promise you that because Rafa will kill me, my VP of product, but it's really, I mean, it's already past design phase. It's already in the implementation phase. So it's coming. Slack integration is coming, which is really something people have been, asking us a lot. And it's also good for us because we use Slack. So we want to make sure that, especially in this moment when you have a nice conversation with somebody, but you see it's a conversation that should be an actionable, item. So you want to make sure that you can really quickly move it to NASB to create a task from this and just, keep your task separate and your chat separate, right? So, and just use the chat actually as comments to this task. So we are working on that to integrate Slack. So these, two big things are coming. As I also mentioned, the reports for pro and business users are coming as well. Like these are the big things, and we have lots of small enhancements coming in. And I mean, like our pipeline for 3.3 and 3.4 is huge. So we will right now be figuring out when we finish 3.3 because we want to ship 3.3 mid-September, and that's why we'll have to just get the best the best features as soon as possible ready. And then and we just hired 2 new developers, so we'll have help there. And then the 3.4 later. So like these are the most important, exciting things I can announce now. The rest will have to wait. You will have to be surprised. But like we are really busy designing right now. That's why it was hard for me to take the vacation actually. So actually, I will admit again, I want to be just 100% frank here with you guys. Work-life balance and everything. So because we have a small baby, it's going to be a staycation for me. So we're not going to go anywhere. We're staying here at home. And I will be out of the company. Only I will be attending our design meeting because we have so many things, cool things designing that I want to just be part of it because I'm the product visionary. So I want to just be there to give feedback. It's a 2-hour meeting every Wednesday, and I'm going to attend this meeting. This is an exception I negotiated with my wife to be able to be on this meeting, just to be able to push our design forward so our development can keep developing. So we are busy as ever right now.
Exactly. And we've got so many ideas, and even you guys, you like to contact us, our support team, and give us your ideas, your suggestions for improvements and new features. And we've just got so many ideas that sometimes it's just difficult to decide which will come first and which has to wait and everything. So yeah.
I just want to mention something, when we are talking about, features and user feedback. So what is really important and what I would ask of you really is to, when you send us feedback and what you want to do, don't bring, there is this phrase that I think Jack Welch coined, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. So no, to the other way around. Don't bring me solutions, bring me problems. So just explain why something is problematic for you in NASB, why something you think doesn't work, why something is broken, for you. Like, for example, this is broken. I want to do this and it doesn't let me, or this is just, too many clicks, or, bring us problems. Because if you bring us problems, then we can really figure out a solution for everyone, instead of, I want to have subtasks. Okay, why?
Wow.
Why would you want to do that? Because of this and this. No, you don't have to. You don't need subtasks for that. You can do it like this and this. So in this way, when you bring us a problem, we can, via email, customer support can send you already a solution kind of thing, or suggestion of a solution, and can write down what kind of problems you bring, and we can later figure this out in the design phase. So bring us problems, bring us concrete, specific use cases. I want to be able to do this because I think it is very productive, but NASB won't let me, or this won't let me, or this doesn't work the way I want. So bring us problems. We are not, we won't be offended. But this way we can figure out solutions better, because we have to, when we design features for NASB, we just don't want to just bring you everything you want. We want to just see what problems you're facing and just how to solve these problems in an elegant way, in an easy to use way, because even if NASB is so powerful, we want to just make sure that it's really easy to use, that it's really easy to use for the beginners and for the advanced people. So just to make sure that, everybody can have, like, when you have NASB on your team, not everyone is pro, is very proficient with this tool. So you want to make sure that you can still be effective with everyone. That's why we want to make sure that it's easy to use, but still, solve even complicated problems.
Exactly. So if you have any problems, do let us know and contact our support team at questions@nosb.com, and we'll be happy to give you suggestions or just add your idea to our request list.
Yep.
And another question from John. Will it be possible to track time in NASB?
Well, you can already track time a little bit because we have the time needed feature. So this is something that I always wanted to use. And now the cool thing with NASB 3.2, which is coming next week, as I told you, there is this new feature that you can actually define the swipe. So when you, I'm going to demo this right now. It's, we are with videos, I can demo this right now. So when there is a task, you can actually swipe and then you can do something, so you can actually, in the 3.2 version, you can define what happens when you swipe. So for example, when I swipe to the left, I have time needed, so I can actually use it for time needed. For example, I always wanted to have that because this way I can very easily define time needed for each task and then have a summary and see how many things I have on my plate. And for example, then when you swipe to the right, you will be able to be moved to the project that the task belongs to. These two swipes are right now, definable, and you can, choose whatever option you want. So we can really customize NASB to your tastes, to your needs. And with these swipes, NASB becomes even more useful. And this way, for you to use NASB as a time tracker, it's pretty neat, because then, for example, you have a project and you can just start defining time needed for each task, and then you have like the time tracking. Of course, for time tracking, you would want to have like a timer and saved automatically and these kind of things. So we don't have that yet, but we are thinking about integrating with maybe Harvest or some other app. It's on our their feature list. We're investigating that. So if you can let us know how you want to have that, and then how you would see that, working in NASB, and maybe if you use a time tracker or that would fit the bill, just let us know. Maybe we can integrate with somebody, or maybe develop something more to this feature and then make it just better, So let us know. But for now, I'm using the needed feature, and I like it as it is already, because it gives me like the idea how much things will take. And then if something takes longer or shorter, I can just swipe, change the value, and go and make it done. So
exactly. Okay, and another question: is it possible to invite someone who is not able to afford a license to collaborate on one project?
Of course, so.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, first of all, you can invite anyone with an email address, and they can just, use the NASB project in a web browser. They have a unique link, and they'll be able to work with you. So they don't even have to sign up for a NASB account. But in NASB account, there is the trial of the Pro account when you start. But then later you can downgrade to free account. Free account gives you 5 projects for free. So actually, this person can actually work with you in 5 projects right now. So this is like lots of people have been using NASB for like a year or 2 years free, until they just finally said, okay, 5 projects not enough, I'm going to pay up, right? And then they move to Pro. But lots of people have been using NASB for a lot of time as a free tool with 5 projects.
Yeah, and it's a great way to start. I mean, if you are just learning, it's great to know all the things and just have like a limited amount of projects, just to know all the features and get to know the app. And then you can just subscribe anytime. Okay, so a question from Nikita. How often do you use the date feature? Are you arranging deadlines to every task or only calendar? So
I use dates more than before. I used to just put tasks there in priority list and that's it. But now, because NASB has this great feature that when there is a date and this date comes, the task becomes automatically your priority task. I use dates more because, for example, when I do my weekly review, I plan some of the tasks like the big rocks, some of the big rocks for specific days. not time, because I don't know that I'm going to be able to write this article at 9:15 a.m. on Thursday, right? But let's say I have this idea that I would like to write this article on Thursday, so I just put Thursday there, right? So this is like a kind of a reminder. So on Thursday morning, I have this task on top of my priority list. Or for example, I'm going through my priority list today. Even when I was before the webinar, I was going through my list, and I saw a few tasks that I don't want to do them now. Actually, can do them in a week or after I come back from my holidays. So I just moved the date there just to be sure that I will be reminded of these tasks when I come back. So the date feature, I don't use it as much for actually specific planning, but more of like as a reminder. I want to just get this done on this day, or think about it on this day and plan this. Very often, for example, I create a task, which means a task like create the project for that, and then create a date for that. So that on that day, I get this task, and then I'm going to think about the project, and because I just don't want to be thinking about it right now, but I want to do it at some point. So actually, I think this thing is just amazing. It must be that that when you put a date on this day, it's going to show up. So there is no way you're going to miss it. And this gives me this this calmness, this serenity that I know that it's there, it's saved, it's safe, and the same that I use, for example, for payments or really timely commitments, right? That I'm that all these things are also with date in NASB. So it depends, but as a reminder, or to make sure that I don't do it now, it's out of my priority list now, but it just will show up later. I use like that.
Exactly, so that you don't have to remember about it and you can just concentrate on other more important things. Okay, and a question from Carl, again about dates in NASB. Will NASB implement a start date for tasks?
Yeah, this is one of also popular features. We are thinking about it. We're also thinking about how to just go about it correctly. So yeah, it's in design in the design phase right now. So at some point we'll figure this out. So yeah, it's on our list there. But I can't promise you the date of implementation but I can't promise you a date that will implement this date feature. But yeah, but it's there.
It's definitely coming. Okay, and one of the last questions for today is from Pat. Would NASB be good for a high school student to keep track of their assignments and studying?
Well, I'm going to be very objective about it. I'm going to just say that it's going to be brilliant for a student. Yeah, especially even on the free plan, with five projects, a high school student can this is my dream, for the future, to be able to. And actually, we have a few pilot projects that we're going to introduce NASB to some schools, because we just want to make sure that the high school students learn getting things done, learn the basic principles of putting stuff out of their system, their head, putting it in a trusted system, creating tasks, creating projects, creating checklists. These are great things to know, to do, because they don't teach you this at school. I wish they would, but they don't. And then you are there, you just finished your school, you are getting your job, and you don't know how to just get everything done, get everything organized. You start working too much. You start working 12-hour days or something, because you're just a chaos, and they don't teach you this at school. So yeah, as a high school student, I would advise to use NASB, to just take advantage of the free version, really, and also, and if you can force your parents to pay, and then you'll have more. It's up to you. But actually, I think for a high school student, 5 projects is more than enough. And the cool thing is that I would advise you to check out my productivity course, so productivitycourse.com. It's a free video and there is a free ebook. And watch out for the upcoming book, which will teach you even more about getting things done. So really, we are going to implement NASB at schools at some point. I'm sure about that. It's going to take more time, but I want to invest in the future generations, not only for my business sake, because really it's not about that. It's about really teaching people something really useful when they go out of school, so that they really have all these principles in place. because normally we don't. I had to learn it the hard way. I mean, I had to read the book by David, and I had to design NASB for myself to learn this. So I was very disorganized, when I started NASB. So yeah, I'm case in point here.
Okay. Thank you. And also, we've got free teachers accounts. So you can always ask your teacher to try out NASB, and then you can just all use it together in your classroom and just see if it fits you, if it's okay for you, and if you like it. So go check that out on our website. There's more information about our teachers account, and you can also contact us. And we'll be happy to help you.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Actually, exactly. We have, NASB is free for teachers. So convince your teacher. They will create an account for you and for your peers, and you will be able to, just think about it, share projects with your teacher, and delegate tasks to them, and they will delegate tasks to you. I mean, it will be fun above everything, So, and for teachers, it's free, so they can actually set up a very good account, to be able for you to be able to actually take advantage of it. So yeah, you're so right.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and so the last question for today is going to be about chain tasks. So do you think that task dependencies are a worthwhile feature? Tom is asking that.
Yes, they are. And no, we don't have them. So now there are tricks to do that, and there is a blog post on our blog how to go about that for now. But again, this is something we've been designing recently, and this is also coming in the future. This is something we are exploring because yes, but again, we want to introduce it in the best possible way to make sure that it's not complicated. I've seen our competitors do it in a not so simple way, and I don't like it. And then we want to just make sure that we can really reimagine that. But yes, I think it's really important, especially again, so we don't have to think about it. So when you know that there are a few tasks that you have to do, but you have to first do first one to do the second one. So you can just focus on the first one, and then when your market is done, the new one pops up, or shows up in a way. So this is coming, but we have to just figure this out, and we're doing that right now. So yeah, these are one of the things that things that we really need, especially advanced NASB users need, and we also need it in NASB, so in our company. So, and this is also a good thing, we use our product every day. So your pain is our pain. I mean, right now I'm heads up, I have the 3.2 version, but you can actually do the same because you can have it from the test flight, so the test version, because I run the same one as all our beta testers do. So it's not like I'm ahead of the curve. I use the same product. So if there is a bug or a problem, or if there is anything wrong with NASB, I'm going to feel the pain as much as everyone else here. So this way we make sure that, that we, there is no special version of NASB that I'm running. I'm running the same thing. So because of that, we feel the same pain. So if we feel we need these tasks, and we also ask ourselves, but it's good that we have our customers that they have so many other use cases. That's why I told you about sending us problems, because this way we can actually figure out how to work better, also ourselves, how to improve our procedures, our workflows, to make sure that we can work better.
Exactly. And also what you said before, that we want to make NASB easy for everyone, not only for the advanced users, but for the users who have just created an account in NASB. So we just want to make sure that when we design a feature and we add a feature, it's easy, it's simple to use, and you know what to do with it. So it might just take time for us to develop a great task dependencies feature, but it's coming, and it's going to be really easy to use. Okay, so that will be the last question for today. So thank you for the amazing webinar, and I think and I hope that we have answered most of the questions. And thank you guys for joining us here today. We really appreciate the time that you've spent with us. And Michael, do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah, so just thanks everyone for showing up, especially in the summer. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And if you have many more questions, let us know, and questions@nasb.com. And again, for an hour, if you want to extend your NASB account, you have this special offer just for an hour. Just go to nasb.com/webinar-bonus, and you will be able to take advantage of the offer right there. And anyway, enjoy the the time here, and then enjoy the summer. We have new version 3.2 coming next week. I have a few great blog posts coming next week, so you will see them in the news section in NASB. So really cool new material is coming up for you to enjoy, and we will have some surprises also for the September. So with also version 3.3, as I mentioned, we're really busy, in summer. So you will have you will see the fruit of that, and we have you to thank you. We have you to thank because thanks to you, thanks to you being fantastic users, fantastic customers, we get to work on these things, and we get to improve ourselves, help you improve your life. And thanks for that, and thanks for being in our life.
Thank you again, and take care, guys, and I hope to see you on our next webinars. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.